Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining from different time zones. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining. And welcome to the webinar for new AUI App beta program for VS and NVLT. My name is Harish Prabhakara. I work here at Nautel as a product manager under marketing. And with me, we have the Cameron Kelly, who is the software development lead here at Nautel. In terms of the topics we'd like to cover, start with the journey of AUI and talk a bit about the AUI app, its characteristics, architecture, features, and other details. And we'd like to switch on to beta program and talk about what's included and what not, when is it starting and ending, and how do I get the beta product, and the support structure during the beta program. Then Cameron will be demoing the new AUI app and showing the screens and configurations on different features of the new AUI app. And we'll end with some questions, including frequently asked questions. Before jumping in, I'd like to take a moment and thank you all very much for being a part of this beta program. And your inputs will be really valuable for us to shape this beta product in a better way and then make it a better product for a bigger release. Thank you very much. And we have, as you can see, we have 5 beta testers from different locations, and more than 10 transmitters are being tested during the beta. We have almost half of them are NVLTs with 10 and 20 kilowatt models, and majority are VSs starting from 300 watts to 1 and 2.5 kilowatts. Before we begin the content, I just want to remind you guys about the questions symbol on the webinar control menu. Please enter your questions there and don't forget to click on send. We'll try to cover as much questions, respond as much questions as possible. And if not, we'll get back to you after the session for sure. Cameron, do you want to?
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Cameron Kelly. I head up the software development team at Nautel, and I'm really excited that we're getting ready to launch this beta program. We've been working on a new application for which will eventually become a product that will be spreading across our whole transmitter line. But before we get into that, though, I want to talk a little bit about the journey to get to where we are today. Some of you may already be aware and have been involved in this, but we originally set out on this AUI project to replace a legacy application that would be a software front end or remote access tool for our VX transmitter series. Some of you may have purchased some VX transmitters from Nautel. Very quickly into that process, we learned that the Adobe company was going to deprecate a tool called Flash, which was what was used to build the legacy application that some of you are likely using today. And what this meant was that browser manufacturers were going to also remove support for Flash, which left us with a little problem because we had an application that wasn't going to be supported in modern browsers. We did find a tool that would allow that to continue. There's we'll call it a shim, but very quickly we decided to pivot and start focusing on getting this new AUI launched on the to replace the legacy application. And we ran into a lot of challenges. Some of you, at least one on this call, I believe, was part of the beta 3 that we attempted to do a couple of years ago, and we ran into some technical challenges and we had to back off. And primarily what we were learning is that we had some more work to do with respect to replacing the legacy application on some of the older product lines, like VS, for example, and had to take another look at and figure out some technical issues that had to be addressed in order to be able to launch a new AUI on these transmitters. So that was sort of ongoing, and part of the team went back and we started to develop and ultimately released the VX series with a new AUI. And Then we went on to port that to the GB2 product line. Some of you may be aware of that. And then finally got back to looking at, okay, what are some of these technical challenges with the older processors? And what I mean by that is transmitters like the VS, the Victor Sierra, NVLT. These are running an ARM 5 processor. And what we were finding, and the biggest challenge, was that the new software with all of the new libraries and HTML5, these transmitters just couldn't keep up. And we had to step back and take a closer look at how we were going to deliver on the promise to put a new AUI on a number of these transmitters. So back in 2024, we took a really deep look into different technology solutions that were available. And we decided to come up with a strategy where we would offload software from the transmitter and move it into the browser. And what this would do is it would free up resources on the transmitter itself and allow processing to occur in the browser, where there was lots of memory and lots of CPU and lots of processing capability. So that's sort of where we got to. In September of 2025, we started to refactor the AUI application, and we started moving and refactoring and porting software away from the transmitter and putting it into the browser. Now, what we ended up with, and I think we can go to the next slide, Harish, is a new AUI that is going to cover. I think we can go another slide. I think I might have covered this one here. Yeah. So, the concept of moving the functionality away from the transmitter and sort of leaving the transmitter with a small piece of software. And the idea is that this would be a small, consistent piece of software that we expect won't change a lot over time. We do need it there because there are certain things that the transmitter has to do that we cannot do in the browser. For example, managing time, managing network connections. Eventually, audio will have to occur in the transmitter. A little bit of RDS happens in the transmitter, and but we moved every piece of functionality that we could away from the transmitter and moved it into the browser. And we're going to get into a demo here this afternoon. But essentially what this does is it creates a really different experience for the end user, not so much in the user interface itself, but how they get the software, how the AUI application is delivered to you as a user. And it's quite unique. And I think you'll appreciate when I go through the demo of how easy it's going to be to upgrade without affecting your transmitter. So most upgrades that we'll be pushing out and making available to customers can all be done simply by opening a laptop or opening a desktop computer and clicking a button, and within a second you have a whole new set of functionality, bug fixes, security patches, and so on, without having to affect the transmitter itself. There's no downtime, and you will very quickly be able to experience those features. This is all based on a technology, and I don't want to get too technical about this at the moment, but it's all based on this what's called a progressive web app. And essentially, it's an application that will run on your computer. It's stored on your computer. It's not like going to a website where you always have to sort of refresh the page or go to Facebook.com or some web service. Once you get the app, it's stored on your desktop or laptop. But from time to time, if you are connected to the internet, you'll have the option to upgrade when upgrades are made available. And I'll show you how that works later on. So you don't need internet access to run this. Once you have the app on your desktop, it will work with your transmitter. Your transmitter doesn't have to be on the internet. If you are on the internet, there is something that I'll show that will be somewhat of an enhanced experience, which is kind of neat, but certainly some locations won't have internet access, and it's not required in order to run the application. One of the nice sort of features that this creates for us is that the pipe between the laptop, the remote machine, and the transmitter doesn't have to be a a full local area network. It can be a slower connection because we're no longer getting the software from the transmitter when we access it. The software lives on your desktop, and it's simply sending commands back and forth to the transmitter so that we reduce the amount of volume that happens between the desktop and the transmitter. So some sites that may have had a slow connection will really benefit from this in terms of the performance and how quickly they will get updates and responses from the transmitter to the remote interface. Some other things that we're going to be able to do in the future are things like push notifications. So eventually we will have a mobile version of this. It's not targeted for this particular beta, but the idea will be that you would get a push notification on your phone, just like you would a push notification from, say, a messenger app or that type of thing. Certainly faster loading times, which will demonstrate, VS's and NV lights, which are typically slower processors, respond very quickly and respond as quickly as some of our higher performance processors. So we'll see that in the demo as well.
Cameron, there's a question on is the NV series included, and if not, is there a timeline to include them?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of your question.
So the question is about whether this new AUI app is included for the NV series, and if not, is there a timeline to include them?
So so it's NV Lite initially. So the beta, which we're going to get into a little bit, is including the VS and the NV Lite only. We do have a plan to port to every other transmitter that we possibly can. We're going to be looking at AM. We'll be looking at a roadmap for bringing this over, making this sort of our universal access for remote access. I don't know when that would be, Harish. I'm not sure who's asking that question, but technically it's not a challenge. It will be a matter of when we schedule it in to deliver that. The nice thing about this architecture is that this will work with any transmitter, and it's simply a matter of recompiling the small piece of code that we install on the transmitter for different platforms. So we can move more quickly, and we could get to something like a full NV more quickly than we could with the the previous development model that we were using.
Hope that answered the question, Jason. Thank you. And moving forward.
Right. So just a little more breakdown on how we've organized things. So what actually runs on the transmitter? Things like SNMP, for example, that's a hardware specific thing. So that needs to run on the transmitter. Time management, networking, if you're using an outsourced clock source like NTP to keep your transmitter time up to date. And audio player when it's available. Our plan is to bring the same audio player solution that we built for VX, Victor X-ray, into the VS, and we fully expect that we're going to be able to do that as part of our roadmap. And and RDS is another component that runs on the transmitter. File management. So we left what we had to leave, and our expectation is that a lot of that functionality that's on the transmitter will not change. The only time we would expect you to have to do an upgrade on your transmitter is if we add a new feature, or we have a bug in the back end that we need to fix, and we feel that we'll be significantly reducing the amount of times you'll have to do anything to the transmitter with respect to software. So what runs in the app is everything else. So the UI, all the displaying, streaming data that produces the meters that are on the dashboard, all of the decoding, all of the meter conversions, formatting, all of that actually runs in the browser. So, reports, anything that's drawn. So, for example, on the dashboard, and it's all of that has been moved out for this beta. And the app itself, though, it's really important. This is a bit of a different paradigm in terms of how you access the app itself. So currently, you open a browser, you put an IP address of the transmitter in the URL, and the browser starts to talk to the transmitter and brings all of the code that's needed to run the app from the transmitter into the browser. And it's only temporary. It'll do a little bit of caching, but there's a lot of page refreshes that go on back and forth. But with this new approach, that's not the case at all. You will go to a website that we will give you as part of the beta test, and it's a publicly available site. And you will immediately, the app will download to your computer, and it's stored on your computer so that if you want to run it the second time, you don't need to go to the internet to get it again. You have it stored on your local computer. So if you want to detach from your network and go up to the transmitter site, if there's no internet there, you're still going to be able to run the app once you get there. So there's no requirement to have an internet connection to run the new AUI. You will need an internet connection on the desktop or laptop, though, in order to get updates. So we will be publishing updates regularly, and if you want to take advantage of those, you would simply get your laptop or your desktop into a space where it has internet access at some point. And updates are optional. You will get an indication that there's an update, and you can click on it and see what's in it. If there's nothing of interest, you can opt not to upgrade. But if there is something that you're looking for, a new feature or a bug fix or a security patch, you simply click the button and the AUI will update literally within seconds. There's no time delay whatsoever, and there's no impact on the transmitter at all. The transmitter continues to function, and there's no downtime for that type of an update. And you can just simply keep your UI up to date as we're developing new features and fixes.
Great. Before moving forward, I'd just like to remind you guys that if you have a question and if you want to speak up, then please unmute yourself and then feel free to ask the questions. So I got another question from Marco about is the new app going to be implemented for the models? So I assume he's asking for all the models in a particular product series. If that's the case, then yes.
Yes, so VS, NVLite, all of the different models within those families will be implemented at the same time. So we expect we'll support VS 300, 2.5, 1K, all of the different models that are there, and the same with NVLite, all the different power levels.
No, what I meant is like in the NVs or the NX, or even going to the GVs. Like I just did the upgrade of the new AUI on my GV here back in September, October, or August last year. So, and I'm just wondering, like, will the app be going into that as well, or are we just going to have the that software in the transmitter?
No, it makes sense for us as a company, and I think it's certainly a benefit for customers that eventually we'll standardize on this model for all of the different families and models of transmitters. It's just going to be a whole lot better for both to be on this type of architecture because we'll be able to push changes out to all of the transmitters at the same time. So if you have the AUI that's normally connecting to a GV, and we find a bug in the software, say we discovered it in the VX and realize it applies to the GV as well, we can push a change out, and that change will go to everybody that decides to update with that change all at once. So our thinking right now is that we would apply this to our whole transmitter suite, even transmitters that are currently in the field.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Cameron, we have another question. Ryan, feel free to ask your question.
I know in our company we have a model that's only available to us, the VS150. Is that going to be part of this as well?
Yeah, it's part of the beta, yeah.
Okay. And next question is, I asked it in the chat, but I'll ask it here. Is there going to be a process to notify us of upgrades that are available? Because right now, if there's a firmware upgrade for anything, I always have to go to the www.nautel.com webpage to see if there's anything new. There's been really no email saying, hey, we have released this firmware, it's available for you. Because I know I'm waiting for some fixes like the previous gentleman, the GV. I also upgraded my GV with the HTML5, and there's some issues with it, like the screen staying on all the time, sometimes freezing. I know there's a firmware supposed to be coming for it, but I'll be continually checking it, so it'd be nice to know when it's coming or when it's expected. So
Yeah.
is there even a way to get notified of this? Hey, we're working on it, we're expecting to release this date sort of deal?
I'll show you in a sec when I do the demo how we're going to start doing release notes and release notifications. So if a new release is available, we can put an indication there that there's also a new firmware update as well that you can apply. So I'll go through that in the demo. I think and you know, as I go through it, if there's still any sort of residual question about it, we can talk about it then. But yes, there will be a way to be notified through the AUI that there's something new available for you and what it is. There will be a description of what that new thing is.
Great. Hope that answered. Ryan, thank you. Cameron, go ahead for the scope. Yeah.
Yeah. So very important that we clarify what will be available as part of this initial beta test. Our plan is to fully develop the new AUI with the feature set that we currently have in our legacy and our AUI app. Some people who may have a VX or a GV2 or a GV. Our plan is to fully implement all those features. That it's important to note that for this beta, this software that we hope and plan to deliver on the 17th of January, will include features that are the dashboard with instruments, meters widget, preset management. Your presets that currently exist on your transmitter will be preserved. After the upgrade to the transmitter, anything you've had as a preset or scheduled presets will all be maintained. That doesn't get overwritten. Any network management will be fully implemented, so you can have NTP turned on so that your transmitter stays up to date with an NTP server. Time management, if you want to, if you don't have internet on your transmitter site and you need to keep track of time manually, there's an interface to adjust the time. Alarms with filtering will be implemented, and alarm history as well. SNMP, RDS, file uploading and upgrading through the AUI will be fully available as part of this beta test, supporting both the onboard file system on the transmitter and a USB storage that you might have plugged in, so you can upload files to that. Reports, meter display with filtering, user management, so the ability to add, change, and delete users. One thing I will note, though, we can't preserve your existing user list that you have on your transmitter. You'll need to sort of copy down, you know, what users are set up and recreate those in the new AUI. We don't have a mechanism to be able to preserve that information. And of course, authorization and authentication. So full security capability to protect your transmitter from, you know, unwanted access. Some things that are not included, you know, ORBAN. Our plan is to include ORBAN as part of our roadmap, but it's not there today. Audio player is not there, but we fully plan to implement that as part of our release schedule. We don't support HD for this beta, but we will in the future. Remote I/O and notifications aren't included as part of this beta. So, you know, if these are things that you're expecting to get on the 17th, they're not going to be there as part of the AUI. Some of this is supported through the front panel, and you can still fully access the transmitter through the front panel user interface as you do today. That's not affected at all, but they won't be available as part of the first beta test that we're doing. We've also put dual exciter screens here in the AUI, but we fully expect we're going to have that. The reason I included in the not included column is I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make it by the 17th, but it looks like we will have that support in the AUI for the 17th. And so, it's important to note that these items are outside the scope of the beta and are planned for later releases. So need to keep in mind that, this is what you can expect when you get the beta test. The features that are included, we expect to be fully functional. We are calling this a beta because in our view, we expect these features work and have been implemented for you to be able to fully control and monitor your transmitter. But of course, with software, we're looking for your feedback. If you find any problems or there's things that you think could be improved or suggestions for improvements, we're really interested in hearing that. We really want to get some really good feedback, critical, positive, any form. We're interested in knowing what's working for you and what's not working for you. And I'll get into that a little bit once we get into the demo and how we hope that you'll be able to report some of that information.
You said the remote I/O is not included. Is that so it connects to the a remote control unit like a Davicom?
No, SNMP would be through a Davicom, I believe.
I actually do both. I do.
Oh, you do both. Okay.
Yeah.
No, so the remote I/O wouldn't be available through the Davicom in this beta.
Okay. Put it in anyway.
So you're saying like a remote command would not work, or it still would work? Like if we hit RF with existing AUI, you have all your lists. Is that still there? So if you close a contact and shorted 2 pins to ground or 1 pin to ground, will it turn off and turn on? You just don't have the ability to change what that I/O does in the AUI or the new?
Yeah, so anything you have currently set up in your remote I/O will continue to function. You just won't have the ability to change it through the AUI in this beta.
Okay, no, that's fine then.
And there is a remote I/O capability on the front panel user interface as well. That's still there. That hasn't gone away at all. That'll be fully functional.
Great.
Yep. Any other questions? That's a lot to say, and
Yeah. And you said the 7th. You said January, or you mean February? I take it.
Sorry, February. I might have said January. Yeah, that's what my management is saying. They want it in January, but no, February is the 17th. So we're getting into the timeline here. I'll let you talk a bit about that, Harish.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So we intend to start the beta on the 17th of February, which is this Tuesday after the coming week, and run for 4 weeks and until the mid-March, which is 17th of March.
If you haven't switched to ion drops yet, let me tell you about it. Trust me, you're going to love it.
I guess.
Can't wait.
Oh, that's fine. That's all good. Thank you. In terms of the access, so how will I get my beta? So we will be shipping a field mod kit with 3 main components: the USB with the preloaded new AUI app software on it, and documentation which would have the instructions to walk through how to upgrade to the new AUI app. And we'll also include a boot stick just in case something breaks or major damage happens and you want to go back to the latest flash AUI, which is, we feel it's an unlikely event to occur, but just in case it happens, we'll also be including a boot stick in the field mod kit. And I'll be talking in the next slides about the support structure during the beta, if such scenario is to occur. So basically you'll have an USB and a document saying these are the steps to upgrade. So you just follow it, and then that's about the upgrade part to the new AUI app. In terms of the support, for any bugs, issues, and confusions, if you guys are stuck at some point and need some guidance and to configure screens and some things which are different from the old ones, need some clarifications on that, any sort of issues, please contact Nautel customer support through our usual channels. The email is support@nautel.com, and the phone number is 877-628-8353. And our Nautel CS team will be there to support you guys 24/7, as we always do. Just an easier optional way to share your feedback as well as bug or some issue which you identify. Cameron is going to demo this in the next slides, but just to give you an idea, there's a small bug icon on the top right corner. As you can see here, when you click it, there's a pop-up box opens up where you can describe your bugs or issues or feedback, anything which you want to notify, and then click on this copy button here. And once you click on that, the screenshot along with the comment which you added there gets copied to the clipboard. So which can be used in any messenger app or messages or the email, text, etc. So you just open your email Outlook and draft an email and just copy, just paste it since it would be copied, so that you'll have the exact screenshot with the details of what you entered there. So we thought it would be an easier path for you guys to report what's happening and a specific screen or a specific setting which you have trouble with. So feel free to use this feature and then report the bugs or the feedback to us. Cameron, you want to talk about the rollback scenario?
Yeah, so we when we did the beta for VS a couple of years ago, it was a really sort of learning process for my team, and we ended up discovering a few different situations in the field where some things weren't the way we were expecting to find them, and as a result, a couple of transmitters got put into a state that needed to be recovered. And we just thought, we've learned a lot. We know a lot more about what's deployed in the field, but as a precaution, and we're not expecting this scenario at all. We've tested a lot of different configurations to ensure that this is going to go well. But in the event it doesn't, or you get on the beta program and you decide it's not for you, we can get you back to the most recent legacy application. But in order to do that, you have to use this little circuit board called a boot stick. Not everybody has these. You can't go to Home Depot and buy one of these things. And as a precaution, we just thought, rather than delaying sending, the shipping time, we would include that in the field mod kit. And my hope is that you can either throw it away or use it as a coaster or something like that. But if you do feel when you get into the beta that it's not working for you, there's something not right, we can get you back very quickly because you have this boot stick available. It's something that's required to be able to revert back to the old application. And the other point about this is we'd like to understand, if somebody does want to revert back, why they're reverting back. If it's some technical issue, we want to know about it. We want to talk to you before the rollback occurs. And if you do get into that sort of situation where you do need to roll back or want to roll back, that will be a call to customer support. They're going to have a direct line to my team 24/7. And we're going to want to talk to you, not to convince you to stay or anything like that, but we just want to understand, what is the root cause for wanting to or needing to roll back, just so that we can learn from that process. So that's why that's included. It's a precautionary thing, so that if something goes wrong or you decide to back out, you're ready and you've got an option right at your fingertips to get you back to where you want to be. As a countdown to a demo. I'm gonna start early. I'm gonna share my screen here. Let's see here. All right, I am not going to have visibility to hands if someone wants to ask a question. So if somebody could interrupt me during the demo, if there's a question, you're going to see some things that are a little different than what you would normally see in the legacy app or in the AUI that exists on the VX or GV or GV2. There are a few unique concepts here that we think are going to be beneficial to customers. So please stop me throughout the demo if something's confusing and you have, you really need to understand before you can move on. Sound okay? All right, I'll take that as we're good. All right, so this is a look at the dashboard of the new AUI. I'm currently connected to an NVLT 10K here. And I'm just going to sort of talk about the menu bar. It looks like the menu bar that exists in the AUI on VX and GV, but there's a few differences. So some things that are in common are we show you the active preset here. You can click on the active preset and change it right here if you like. That's pretty much the same. We have a time over here on the right. So this is the actual transmitter's time. This is not your browser time. This is the time the transmitter thinks it is. We have a menu here which allows you to access options, and I'll go into some of those options in a little more detail in a second, but for now we'll just keep sort of explaining the menu bar. We have our logo here. Of course, we want to let you know who we are all the time. But this here, when this drop down is a little interesting. Did somebody have a question or? Okay. So this drop down here is a little bit interesting. So previously with the legacy app and the AUI, your browser could only ever connect to one transmitter at a time. So you open a browser, you punch in an IP address, and boom, you're connected to the transmitter. With moving the functionality out to the browser, we now have the ability to talk to multiple transmitters at the same time. Currently, you're only interacting with a single transmitter, but if I click on this list, I've got access to a whole pile of transmitters now. So if I'm a radio engineer or somebody supporting a bank of transmitters, through this one interface, I can access all of my transmitters that I've paired with. And you can see here, I've got a number of transmitters set up. And currently, all of these transmitters are spread out across different locations. So they're not all in one location. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. But you now have the ability to be able to see more than just one transmitter through this browser. So I don't have to open multiple tabs. I can if I want to. I can have more than one tab set up.
That's gonna be my question, is if you could have, like, if you want to compare two transmitters, you can have two different browser sessions open, connected to two different transmitters, and start doing comparisons.
Correct. Let me just sort of show you that. So I've got this machine called Daffy, and now I'm connected to QCJK at the same time. So I can independently look at one or the other, or from the same tab, I can switch to another transmitter, and everything updates according to that transmitter.
So your other tab wasn't available.
So where's the login information stored?
Okay, so
switching between transmitters.
Yeah, so the transmitter maintains the authentication and authorization. So I have login turned off here currently, but if you are connecting to another transmitter, for example, here, and you haven't connected to this transmitter before, you're going to be presented with a login screen, and you're going to have to log into that transmitter. Now, when you log in, the transmitter will issue you a token, a security token, which you can then pass back on subsequent calls. This all happens behind the scenes, and the user is unaware of it. But if you're switching back and forth and you've already authenticated, then you don't have to log in again. Now those tokens expire, so if it's a day or two since you've logged in, you're going to be presented with a login screen again. But you have to authenticate with each transmitter. So the security is still in the transmitter itself. It has to be. There's no security in a browser, right? So I can go in and alter the source code on this thing, but the transmitter has to be hardened so that it can ensure that bad actors aren't trying to interrogate the transmitter. Yeah. Does that answer your question? All right.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so what else we have on here? So getting back to the question about, how do I know what's new? How do I get away from having to hit Nautel's FTP site every time I'm looking for and waiting for a change? So we have this version number here that shows the current version of the AUI, and right now this is a beta version. What you will see when you have access to it on the 17th is, I think it's going to be 6.0.0, but I'm not completely sure what that number will be. But when there is a new version available, and I'm just wondering if I can show that here in another tab. Let me see if I can.
So Cameron, only one tab is shared.
Correct. So I'm going to just see if. Okay, I don't have a new version available. I'll have to explain what it is I'm talking about. So you can see my transmitter on light mode again, Harish?
Yes.
Okay, so when there is a new version available, there will be a little red bubble, a little red circle with a number in it showing up here in the upper right corner, just above the second 3. And that's how you'll know there's something new. Nautel has just made a change and it's available to the end user. If you click on this, it will come up with a list of release notes. So I don't have an update right now, but it's showing me the previous release notes, and we'll be putting information here about what it is that's new. If there is a new version, it will be noted as the top one, and there will be a big green button that says upgrade. And when you click the button, this AUI will upgrade within a second. So you'll get a brand new updated version with all the changes that we noted in the release notes. Like, for example, when I went from 3.2 to 3.3, there were some minor UI tweaks and stability changes. We'll have more information in there about specifics. And we can also include in there that there is a new version of the transmitter software, which includes these features, and you'll know about it through that process. So just simply by interacting with the AUI and this little feature here, you'll know that something is new. If there's no little red bubble, there's nothing new. It's the same application that you had yesterday.
So obviously this is the PC polling somewhere to seeing if there's
Correct.
an update, and you get
Correct.
that indication. So if your computer didn't have internet access, this would never function.
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
So, but it's not the transmitter itself polling Nautel.
No.
It's your PC. Okay.
Yeah, this is independent of the transmitter itself. So yeah, so this is sort of I don't know if you've ever heard the term a progressive web app, but it's a really neat way to build web applications, but have them run just like desktop applications. And that's essentially what's sort of running here. So this window is what actually periodically reaches out to a website and checks to see whether or not there's an update available. And if there is, it puts a little bubble here. Okay, and again, the upgrade to this AUI piece, the front end here is instant. There's no significant delay. It's a second or two, and then this will refresh and give you an updated set of functionality. Transmitter updates are a little bit different. So transmitter updates will require making an update to the transmitter. Transmitter is only offline for a short period for it to reboot. But the upload process and the process of getting the update ready for the transmitter is all done concurrent to the transmitter continuing to operate. We have a feature that will be part of the beta, and I'll just jump into that here for a second, where under files, you'll be able to upload a file from your local computer. So I could take a file here from my local machine and click on it, and it will start uploading to my local file system. If you have a USB plugged in, it will actually upload through up to the USB instead. And that's how you would get a file onto your transmitter from your desktop. And then once that file is there, you can use it to upload. I guess it's taking a little longer to actually upload than I thought.
So if the transmitter has access to the internet, can it automatically download the updated files to the transmitter without us having to do this step? Or
Sorry.
is this step always has, like, if there's a new firmware, will the transmitter, if we connect to the transmitter and the transmitter has access to the internet, will it automatically download the firmware update, or do we always have to do this upload file like we did before?
No, there will be two options for the transmitter. There won't be an automatic internet download on the transmitter, so you can update through the AUI, and when you there will be these aren't actual update files, but there would be a menu option here that says update. So that's one way to update the transmitter. The other way will be to take a USB stick to the transmitter and plug it in and do an upgrade through the front panel.
So we'll still have to download the firmware to our desktop, then upload
Yes.
it. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Because I'm just trying to think of our scenarios, because most of our transmitters don't have direct access to the internet. So
yes. So you so you would download it to your desktop, upload it through this interface, and then hit the upgrade button with that file, and it'll prepare the upgrade. Again, the transmitter continues to operate while that preparation is being done. And then at some point when it's finished, it's going to want to reboot. And for that reboot period, you're offline for a couple of seconds. The nice thing about our update process here, too, I should mention, is that when you switch your transmitters from the legacy app to this new AUI, we essentially reformat your hard drive. And what we do is we break it down into 3 partitions. So we divide it up into sections A, B, and a D. And the A and the B partitions are used for the software itself. So normally you're running off one partition. So when we're doing an upgrade, we're copying files to the secondary partition, which isn't operational. We get it all ready, and when we're sure that it's been uploaded and extracted correctly, you would do a reboot, and what happens is the secondary partition becomes your primary, and you operate from there. If there's a problem, you still have your old situation, which you can your old software, which you can revert back to. So you're never going to be in a situation where an upgrade blows up. You've always got your old application still preserved, and the new application is in the secondary partition, which gets switched to. The third partition, the D partition, is where your data is going to be stored. So things like your event log, user profiles, user preference information, all of those sorts of things are preserved. Your transmitter name, these things that you set during the course of operations will all be preserved on the D partition, so you don't lose that information going forward.
Cameron, there's a question from Brian. Is the traffic from the AUI app going directly to the transmitter via the local networking, or is it bouncing through a proxy on the public internet somewhere?
No, it's through the interesting question, because it's what we're using is what's called a peer-to-peer protocol, and I don't want to get too detailed in that, but in this case here, this QCJK this is a transmitter that's currently in my laundry room, and right now all of my traffic is going directly from my computer through my local area network to the computer in the laundry room. So the traffic moves on my LAN. It doesn't move through the cloud at all. We use a protocol called WebRTC, and it's the same peer-to-peer protocol that's used to, for example, drive this webinar. All of our computers involved in this conversation are all directly connected to each other through a peer-to-peer protocol called WebRTC. And it's a very secure protocol. It's all encrypted traffic. There's no way for anybody to intercept it. But to answer your question directly, is the traffic moving from this browser to this transmitter is all on my local area network. Now, one of the features we built that we may eventually roll out is the ability to remote access your transmitter from anywhere in the world. So that traffic, of course, will run over the internet when we release that feature. But it's all encrypted, and it's point to point. There's no middle system intervening in the traffic flow at all. It's all my computer to the transmitter. So there's no dependence on a central server for browser to transmitter connectivity when you're operating on your local area network. When you're operating on a remote, if later, as when we release the mobile version, you'll be able to access your transmitter through the internet, and of course that traffic has to go through the internet itself. One of the things that's top of mind as part of this whole refactor is security. We want to offer customers the most secure technology that's available for accessing remotely. There inherently are problems accessing with like VPNs, for example. Not there's a problem accessing your transmitter on a VPN, but when you put a VPN on your local area network, you open the door to outside access. This WebRTC technology doesn't require you to open the door to outside access. It's a really interesting protocol, and it's what's driving the whole Zoom calls, Teams calls, all these things are all driven through this technology. Any other questions before I move on?
Nothing as of now. You can carry
Okay.
on.
All right. So I got to move away from the menu bar here. That's that's a lot of time on one component. But so just very quickly, I'm showing this in light mode. The little moon here will allow you to switch to dark mode if that's something that's if you're operating at night, you might want that. So that's pretty simple. This is what I call the "What bugs you" button. This is how you would interact with Nautel to say, hey, this page isn't working, or it'd be really nice if you could add a little button here for convenience. When I click on this, as Harish mentioned, it pops up in the dialog box. I can type in here, this page is beautiful. I can't spell. And what happens is when I click copy, a copy of the page, just the page, not your browser embellishments or anything else on your desktop, just this portion here where you've got the application is copied to my clipboard. And now I can go to any application and paste that into either email or a document, for example, if I want to, or Messenger, whatever application you want to use. The screenshot and the text that you typed in there is now available to be sent to Nautel or wherever else you want to send it. All right, so moving down to the status bar, we've got some, we indicate that remote is enabled. Sometimes, you want to have local only, which locks out access through remote. So if you're at the transmitter site and you're doing something that you're worried about, somebody turning RF on or something like that, you can lock that out, and that just tells you that RF remote mode is enabled or it's in local only. I'm going to switch over to an NV Lite here. It's just a little more interesting. You can turn RF on through this status bar, and you'll see it come on here, and you'll see the forward power ramp up. And I'm just going to switch over to the meters page for a second. So you can look at all of the meters by device. So you see the controller, the exciter, the rack, the power modules here. Power modules on this are, there's 4 of them, and we've grouped the meters and the power modules to be meaningful in terms of how we think customers would want to see them. So we have PA temperature here, and let's see here. Oh, sorry, I switched over here. What happened? Oh boy, somebody took away my NV Lite. Okay, I'll just switch to this one here. So this is the transmitter again at my site. These, I don't have as many meters showing because this is a VS300. Let's turn this on. Turning RF on here, and then the meters start to light up, and I can look at. I get a little spark line here showing me, the value of the meter in relation to some warning levels. I can click on the spark line. It's kind of a neat feature where you can actually see a graph showing the actual value of the meter in relation to some of the some of the warning thresholds that we have set. In addition, I can turn on this out of range feature, which will show me meters that are misbehaving at a glance. These yellow ones are ones that are marginal. The ones that are red are above certain thresholds that we've set. So that's sort of a neat little feature, I think. Alarms are essentially what they are. You can see what alarms are currently active. The controller, I have a low battery alarm, no external 10 megahertz. I can reset alarms if I want to. And I have the ability to filter alarms as well. If I want to, if I have a lot of alarms going on here, I can type in keywords and just maybe look at anything related to battery or anything for a specific device, like the controller. And this will limit my search through a filter and apply that, and I will only be looking at those types of alarms. We're going to have, yep.
There was a question mark on the top, towards the right on that screen. So could you show what is that for? The question mark button there?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right. So this was on the alarms page you're talking about, right?
That's right.
Okay. So one of the sort of things we built in here with filtering alarms, I'm just going to turn this off for a sec, is that you can do a keyword search or a search by device, and it gives you a little helper here. But if you're not sure what the command structure is, or you've forgotten, there's a little help button here, and it explains how to do a basic search, how to filter by severity, how to filter by device, and then there are some combined examples. It's just a quick cheat sheet sort of thing to help you understand what it is you would want to type in to filter the alarms if you want to filter them. We're also working on saving these filters. So, if you like to see just the critical alarms, when you go in here, we'll have a saved filter that you can apply immediately, or will apply, based on your user preferences. What else? We have presets, very similar to what you would see in presets in the old legacy and in the AUI. You basically get a list. You can switch presets here. Currently, I'm on this 108 megahertz. I can switch to this A, B, C, D, E, F. You can tell we're testing. We're putting in test names, which don't make sense. But so I've switched presets. I can edit presets simply by going in and clicking the edit button, and I can edit all the different components and settings there are in a preset. I can clone a preset if I want to, just by clicking this button, and it asks me if I'm sure, and I say yes, and you'll see a new preset show up here. Or I can delete a preset at any time. I can't delete an active preset, but I can delete any other preset. And I can also switch presets from here as well, like you could in the AUI. So it's just a convenience type panel. Also, there's the scheduler. I'm not going to get into too detail about this, but you can set up schedules to have presets switch at various times of the day or week or month. Some of you may have that active on your transmitters currently. This looks very similar to what we currently have. I'm moving quickly here, so stop me if I'm going too fast. We have a settings page, which allows you to control things like time, internet synchronized time management. You can look at your network details, MAC address, IP address, subnet masks, gateways, and so on. User management is through here. This button should be over to the right here, little bug. But the idea is that administrators can add, change, delete users, reset passwords, this type of thing. We have an SNMP management screen, very similar to what we have. I don't particularly like this screen. I'm going to probably redo it before the beta, so it'll be organized a little better, but it gives you the functionality you need to manage and control your SNMP. We have thresholds. You can change these values and save them. FM polarity, external megahertz, 10 megahertz spectrum mask. We can switch from FCC to other forms. system preferences. So a lot of this would be familiar to people who already operate transmitters. Exciter TCO. You have a reboot option where you can reboot the active exciter. I only have one exciter in my transmitter here, so there's only one. If you have a dual exciter, you would have a, reboot the standby. So that will be available as part of the beta. And then
Cameron, there's a question.
Sure.
Is the capture meters option still available?
Sorry, which meters?
Capture meters. So if we want to do meter readings remotely, there was options before where we could capture all the meters and paste it in Excel or Google Sheets. Is that still available in this beta application?
Oh, no, it's not. I didn't know that was a feature in the legacy app. So it wouldn't be difficult for us to add something like that. So you're talking about being on the meters page here like this and capturing the current value, is that right? Or capturing an historical?
Yes, exactly. It captures all the meter readings at the instant you push capture meters, and then we can keep track. Sometimes if we don't go to the site often, well, if we do it on a monthly basis, well, at least we can see all the meters and compare and see if something is going offline or on the site.
Okay. Can't promise it for the beta. That's a neat feature. It's not hard to do. It's a pretty simple task. So I'm not sure where it would fit in the roadmap, but
also customer service typically asks for meter capture every once in a while too. If you call them an email and like, hey, can you capture meters and send them to us? So it's used quite regularly.
Okay. Leave it with me. It wouldn't be a difficult thing to do. It might show up in the beta, but I can't promise it. I'm just wondering if there's another way to do that without actually adding any. Probably not. I'll take a look at it. I wasn't aware of that feature, so I'll have to take a look at it. I don't think it's a challenge to do something like that.
So what we typically do is we capture the meters and they ask us to like dump it or paste it into Excel spreadsheet or something like that.
Okay. Like a CSV file or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Leave that with me. Thank you. Let's see, moving through. Yeah, so that's about it. Sign out. We're going to have a user profile page here where an individual can go in and change their name, change their email address, reset their password. This is not going to be in the beta, but we will be enabling two-factor authentication in the next release. So the idea being that customers who want to turn that on will require anybody logging in to use an authenticator app like Google Authenticator or some other app that you like, where you would pair up with the transmitter and have to punch in a 6-digit code to get past the sign-on screen. And that's essentially it. That's what's in the current beta that we plan to release next week.
And since we are almost past 1 hour, we'll just can probably talk on the last couple of slides and then ask for you guys to kindly reach out to us and then ask your questions, and we'll definitely be able to respond it. Just a couple of things while Cameron was speaking. So he was showing how there is a new software version available, which is indicated here on the top left corner. And then once you click that, once you click on the version, you can see the release notes and the version available. You just click on the upgrade now button, and then that's how it will be upgraded. All right. Moving on, Cameron, do you want to just glance through the frequently asked questions once, if it's quickly, or?
Yeah, sorry, my mic was off there. Yeah, these are some things we've been asked before. Some of them I may have covered in going through the demo. Do I need to be off air during the upgrade? Your transmitter will be down for the period of the transition from the legacy to the new AUI, and what it's been taking is about 7 to 10 minutes to complete the upgrade, and so the transmitter will be off air for that period. Will my transmitter need to be on the internet? No, it won't need an internet connection. Will my device need to be on the internet only to get the app initially and then to get upgrades? For regular operation, it doesn't need to be on the internet or have access to the internet. Do I need to download every time? No. So once you download the first time, there is a way that'll be documented in the documentation to save the app to your desktop. There's a little button that shows up in the browser that you can click, and it saves the app to your desktop. So no, you don't need to download it every time. How do I know when there's a new version available? Just as we talked about and Harish showed in that last slide, a little red bubble will appear saying there's something new, and that's how
That's just
you
for the app though, correct?
well, we'll if we have a firmware upgrade or a transmitter upgrade, we'll include it in there as well. We'll have it in there saying, you know, you can upgrade the AUI through here, but you know, go to Nautel's site, you can get an upgrade for the transmitter software itself. So we will have an indicator in there that there might be a new version available for the backend as well. You won't be able to download it through there. Well, we could put a link in there that you could click and download. Yeah, we could do something like that. That wouldn't be hard to do. So what we're recommending that when you get this USB in the field mod kit, we're recommending that you leave it plugged into the transmitter and into the USB port. That gives you a little extra storage capacity. Because we reformatted the hard drive and we've broken it down into these A, B, and D partitions, there likely won't be enough space on the onboard file system of the transmitter to upload an upgrade file. So we're recommending that you leave the USB stick plugged in, leave it in, don't take it out, and then when you have an upgrade, you can just upload to the USB stick. It's just like another hard drive in your transmitter. So we're suggesting you leave that in. And how can this approach benefit me in the future? It's rapid updates. We're operating on a model that if we find a bug in the morning, we want to try to fix it and distribute it that afternoon. That's our mission, to be able to keep these transmitters updated and make sure that any issues are fixed quickly. Rolling out new features are very quick and no interruption to the transmitter unless there's something we need to do to add functionality to the back end to support a new feature. And in that case, we would need you to touch the transmitter.
Great. And for feedbacks and enhancements, and if you guys have any specific comments or advices regarding some screens or configurations or anything regarding the new AUI app, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is harish.prabhakara@nautel.com, the one which I have used to communicate with you guys till this point of time. And before we let you guys go, I just want to say that if you guys are open, we are open to have a weekly discussions, quick catch-ups with you, privately or group. It's up to you. And if it's only if you guys are interested, it's not mandatory, then we're open to that. And then we are really happy to get the valuable feedback from you guys and shape it as a better product. So thank you very much for your participation and then for all the questions. And if you have more questions, please shoot out an email to me, and then have a great rest of the day. And thank you very much for joining. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Nice to talk to you.
Good day. Have a good weekend.
Thank
Have a
you.
great week.